Canned mackerel has long been considered a very safe option for older adults. It's easy to buy, has a long shelf life, is high in protein, contains omega-3s, and can be eaten straight out of the can. Many people over 60 see canned mackerel as a reliable solution for quick meals, especially when they no longer have the energy to cook elaborate dishes. But what if I told you that precisely because it is so familiar and so convenient, canned mackerel is often used in ways that prevent the body after 60 from receiving its full benefits? Eating canned mackerel is not wrong. The issue lies in how we eat it, when we eat it, and the small details that a younger body could once ignore, but that begin to trigger clear responses as we get older. After 60, digestion slows down, the liver and kidneys work harder, and blood vessels become more sensitive to salt and fat. These changes happen quietly. You don't notice them after a single meal, but when the same habits are repeated over and over, the body starts sending signals, feelings of heaviness after eating, fatigue, sluggishness, or simply the sense that I'm eating this but I don't feel better. What's notable is that many people believe they are eating correctly, even healthily, while in reality they are making small mistakes that accumulate over the years. To understand this more clearly, let's first take a look at your own habits, because there's a good chance you'll recognize yourself in the questions coming up next. Try asking yourself a few very familiar questions. Do you often open a can of mackerel, eat it directly or with plain rice, and think that's already a complete, nutritious meal? Have you ever chosen canned mackerel because you believe ocean fish are always good for the heart, so there's no need to pay much attention to labels or salt content? Do you often eat canned mackerel in the evening because it feels lighter than meat, easier to eat, and requires no preparation? Have you ever kept an opened can of mackerel in the refrigerator for several days, thinking, it's canned fish, it should still be fine? And have you ever poured out the liquid or oil in the can because you were worried about fat or salt without thinking further? If you nodded quietly and thought, yes, I do that, you are not alone. Most people over 60 whom I've met over more than 20 years of clinical work have at least one, often several, of these habits. These habits sound reasonable, they're convenient, familiar, and may have followed you for years. What many people don't realize is that a body at 60 no longer reacts the same way it did at 40 or 50. Things that once caused no problem can now become small but repetitive burdens. That's exactly why we need to talk about canned mackerel honestly, calmly, and clearly, not to scare you, but to help you understand how to use it in a way that better suits your body today. In the next section, I'll explain exactly what we'll go through in this video, and why there are certain mistakes that almost everyone makes without realizing them. In this video, we'll go through 8 common mistakes that people over 60 often make when eating canned mackerel. These are not obscure or academic issues. On the contrary, they all come from very everyday habits, so familiar that we rarely stop to question them. For each mistake, I'll explain why it sounds correct, why so many people believe they're eating healthily, and what is actually happening inside the body when that habit is repeated over months and years. I won't use complicated medical terminology. I'll explain it with relatable images, the same way I do with my patients in the clinic. More importantly, each mistake comes with a very specific correction. Not vague advice, but practical adjustments you can apply immediately in your daily meals. How much to eat, when to eat it so your body feels more comfortable, and what to combine it with to reduce strain on your heart, digestion, joints, and energy levels. There is one mistake in particular that surprises almost everyone, even those who have eaten canned mackerel for many years and believe they understand it well. And that mistake is exactly why this video matters for anyone who wants stable health after 60, not just eating enough. Now, let's begin with the first mistake: These are the smaller, easily overlooked ones, but if ignored, they quietly accumulate over time. We begin with mistake number 8, a habit so common that almost everyone has done it at least once. Mistake number 8, pouring out all the liquid or oil and keeping only the fish. Many people open a can of mackerel, drain all the liquid, and eat only the flesh. This sounds reasonable. You may think the liquid is just excess oil, salt, or fat, and removing it will make the meal lighter. What most people don't realize is that during the canning process, a portion of the omega-3s, fat-soluble vitamins, and minerals from the fish dissolve into that liquid. It's similar to simmering bones for broth and then pouring the broth away. You're not just discarding water, you're discarding the essence. For people over 60, losing omega-3s consistently over time can lead to stiffer joints, less flexible memory, and higher levels of low-grade inflammation in the body. How to fix it? If the fish is packed in olive oil or lightly salted water, you don't need to use all the liquid, but don't throw it all away either. Use a portion of it, mixing it with vegetables, rice, or bread. This keeps nutrients while making the meal easier to digest. Mistake number 7, eating canned mackerel too often because fish is always good for the heart. This belief is partly true, but incomplete. Canned mackerel is a fatty fish rich in omega-3s, but eating it day after day can overload an older digestive system that no longer works as efficiently. Think of your stomach like an old washing machine. If you put heavy loads in it every single day, it will still run, but it wears out faster. The result may be bloating, indigestion, heaviness, and lower energy. How to fix it? Keep canned mackerel to about 1 or 2 times per week. Rotate with lighter protein sources, such as eggs, legumes, or white fish. Mistake number 6, eating canned mackerel by itself without other foods. Many people open a can and eat it straight, assuming it's fast and complete. But mackerel is rich in both protein and fat. Without fiber, digestion becomes harder. In people over 60, this can contribute to constipation, gas, and gradually higher LDL cholesterol. It's like pouring concentrated fuel into an engine without enough lubrication. How to fix it? Always eat mackerel with vegetables, beans, whole grains, or a small portion of low-sugar fruit. Fiber softens the meal and supports heart health. Mistake number 4. Reheating canned mackerel at very high heat. Some people heat canned mackerel directly over high flame or microwave it for too long. This feels convenient, but high heat can damage omega-3 fats, increase fishy odor, and make the fish harder to digest. In older bodies, heat-altered fats may increase silent inflammation in blood vessels and joints. How to fix it? Warm gently, or mix the fish into already cooked dishes so the temperature stays moderate, warm, not hot. Mistake number 3, not reading the label carefully. Many canned mackerel products contain more salt than you expect. You may not taste it immediately, but salt acts like small drops of water falling on stone. Over time, it affects blood pressure, heart, and kidneys. People over 60 are especially sensitive to cumulative sodium. How to fix it? Choose low-sodium versions. And when you eat mackerel, reduce salt in other meals that day so the total load stays manageable. Mistake number 2, eating canned mackerel late at night. Mackerel is rich in protein and fat. When eaten close to bedtime, digestion continues throughout the night. In older adults, this often leads to poor sleep, mild reflux, and morning fatigue. How to fix it? Eat mackerel at lunch or early dinner, at least 3 hours before sleep. And now, we're about to reach mistake number 1, the most commonly overlooked mistake, yet the one with the deepest long-term impact on health after 60. This is exactly why you'll want to stay with me for the next section. Mistake number 1, the most commonly overlooked mistake when eating canned mackerel. is treating canned mackerel as a long-term meal replacement rather than as a supporting food. Many people over 60 rely on canned mackerel because it is convenient, soft, easy to chew, high in protein, and requires no cooking. That sounds completely reasonable. What most people don't realize, however, is that mackerel, especially canned mackerel, was not meant to be used as a primary protein source repeatedly across many meals and many weeks in a row. Think of your body like a garden. Mackerel provides a very powerful fertilizer, rich in nutrients. Used occasionally and at the right time, plants grow strong and healthy. But if you use only that one fertilizer every day, the soil becomes imbalanced, the roots come under stress, and the plants no longer grow harmoniously. Physiologically, mackerel is a fatty fish, rich in omega-3s and also containing natural purines. When you are younger, your liver and kidneys handle these substances quite flexibly. After 60, the body's filtering and balancing systems slow down. When canned mackerel is eaten too frequently, especially without rotating with other protein sources, the body may respond with a feeling of heaviness, unexplained fatigue, dull joint pain, or increased uric acid levels in sensitive individuals. I have met patients who told me they were eating fish to be healthy, yet could not understand why they had begun sleeping poorly, feeling stiffer in the morning, and gradually losing energy. When we reviewed their habits together, mackerel appeared almost every day in their meals, sometimes as a main meal, sometimes as a late-night snack. This does not mean you need to avoid mackerel, not at all. Canned mackerel is still a valuable food when used in the right role. The correction here is simple but crucial. Treat canned mackerel as a supplement, not a foundation. 1 to 2 times per week is enough to gain the benefits of omega-3s without placing unnecessary strain on digestion, liver, kidneys, and joints. Rotate mackerel with white fish, eggs, legumes, or softly cooked poultry. And whenever you eat mackerel, make sure the meal includes enough vegetables, sufficient fiber, and is not overly salty. When you place mackerel in the right position within your diet, your body can benefit from it rather than having to endure it. This is exactly why this video matters. Not to say that canned mackerel is bad, but to help you understand that after 60, how you eat matters far more than the food itself. In the next section, I will explain which groups of people should be especially cautious when eating canned mackerel, so you can adjust safely and with greater peace of mind. Before we talk about benefits or optimization, there is an important point I always emphasize with people over 60: understanding who needs a bit more caution, not to avoid completely, but to use foods correctly and safely. If you have issues with blood pressure, especially high or fluctuating blood pressure, canned mackerel deserves closer attention. Most canned mackerel products contain a significant amount of sodium, even those labeled low salt. When you were younger, your body could eliminate excess sodium more efficiently. After 60, kidney function slows, fluid retention increases, and even slightly higher salt intake can lead to heaviness in the limbs, mild facial puffiness in the morning, or subtle increases in blood pressure. If you have a history of gout, elevated uric acid, or unexplained joint pain, mackerel should also be eaten in moderation. Mackerel is nutritious but naturally high in purines. In sensitive individuals, purine accumulation does not cause immediate problems. It shows up gradually as morning stiffness, dull aches, or unexplained fatigue. This is often dismissed as just aging, when in fact, frequency plays a role. People taking blood thinners, heart medications, or long-term anti-inflammatory drugs should also be mindful. Omega-3s in mackerel are beneficial, but when combined with medications, especially if consumed frequently and from multiple sources, the body may respond more strongly than necessary. This does not mean mackerel is off limits. It simply means keeping intake moderate and discussing it with your doctor if fatty fish is a regular part of your diet. Additionally, if you have a sensitive digestive system, tend to feel bloated, digest slowly, or sleep poorly after dinner, canned mackerel eaten late in the evening may not be ideal. The fats in mackerel require time to digest, and when digestion continues as your body is preparing to rest, it can lead to restlessness and shallow sleep without you ever suspecting the meal. The key point I want to emphasize is this: caution does not mean prohibition. Canned mackerel is not a bad food. For most people over 60, it can absolutely be a part of a healthy diet if you understand your body, eat it in reasonable amounts, and avoid treating it as a perfectly safe default. In the next section, I will help you take a calmer, more positive view. When canned mackerel is used correctly and in the right role, what benefits can it truly offer for health after 60? After going through all the common mistakes, you may now be asking a very natural question. So, in the end, is canned mackerel still worth eating? My answer is yes, and in fact, very much so, if it is used correctly. When chosen properly, eaten at a reasonable frequency, and combined thoughtfully, canned mackerel can offer many practical benefits for people over 60 in a quiet but sustainable way. First is its accessibility as a protein source. At this age, many people eat less meat because chewing becomes difficult, digestion slows, or they simply feel tired of cooking. Canned mackerel, soft and convenient, helps provide protein to maintain muscle mass, preserve strength in the arms and legs, and reduce the risk of muscle loss and falls. Next are the healthy fats that support the heart and brain. The omega-3s in mackerel, when not overshadowed by excessive salt or low-quality oils, help support blood circulation, keep blood vessels more flexible, and nourish the brain. Many older adults notice that when they eat fatty fish the right way, they experience less brain fog, feel more mentally clear in the morning, and have less joint stiffness upon waking. Canned mackerel can also support stable energy throughout the day, if you don't eat it on its own. When combined with vegetables, fiber, and a small amount of slow carbohydrates, such as potatoes, oats, or whole grain bread, the meal becomes more balanced. This helps stabilize blood sugar and prevents post-meal fatigue. Many people over 60 value this greatly, as it allows them to stay active without relying on coffee or sugary foods. The most important thing I want you to remember from this section is this: small changes create big results. You don't need to eliminate mackerel, and you don't need to eat large amounts to make up for nutrition. Simply switching to a lower salt option, eating more slowly, avoiding eating it on consecutive days, keeping the good oil when appropriate, and choosing smarter timing already transforms a convenient food into genuine nutritional support. In the next section, I want to move into something more connective. I would really like to hear about your experience with canned mackerel, because every body tells a different story, and our community is where the most valuable real-world insights are shared. Before we close this video, I'd like to pause for a moment and speak directly with you, not as an expert, but as someone who has walked alongside many people over 60 in their everyday health journeys. Think back to the mistakes we just discussed. Was there anything that made you nod and think, that sounds very familiar? Maybe you used to eat canned mackerel almost every day because it felt convenient and healthy. Maybe you always poured off the oil without hesitation. Or maybe you simply never read the label carefully because you believed fish was always a healthy choice. I would truly like you to share that. In the comments below, tell me how you usually eat canned mackerel, how often you eat it, and after this video, what is the smallest change you think you might try? Sometimes even a very slight adjustment, like eating more slowly, changing the time of day, or adding more vegetables, can create a noticeable difference in how your body feels. If you found this content helpful, please click like to help YouTube recognize that health information for older adults truly matters. If you haven't subscribed yet, I invite you to do so we can continue meeting in future videos where I share simple, practical guidance that respects the aging body. And if you have parents, relatives, or friends in this age group, consider sharing this video with them. Sometimes a timely and gentle reminder is more valuable than many supplements. In the final section, I want to leave you with a short but very important message, one that speaks directly to the stage of life you are in right now. Before you leave this video, I want you to remember one very important thing. After 60, health is no longer shaped by big, dramatic changes or extreme decisions. It is built from small choices, repeated day after day, often very quietly, just like the way our bodies respond to food. Canned mackerel, like many familiar foods, is not the enemy. The issue has never been the food itself, but how we use it at a stage when the body has changed. When you understand this better, you don't need to be afraid, and you don't need to eliminate everything you've relied on for years. You simply need to adjust. Think of your body like a car that has traveled a long distance. It still runs well, but it needs more suitable fuel and more attentive listening. When you eat a bit more slowly, choose the right type, the right amount, and the right timing, you help your heart work with less strain, your digestion function more gently, your joints stay less inflamed, and your energy remain more stable throughout the day. The most important feeling I want you to carry with you after this video is a sense of control. Not worry, not regret, not the feeling that I've been eating wrong for years, but the understanding that starting with your very next meal, you can already do a little better for yourself. It is never too late to care for your body in a smarter way, and every small choice you make today is how you protect your independence, clarity, and quality of life in the years ahead. Thank you for staying with me until the end of this video. I truly appreciate that. We will meet again in future topics where health is not discussed through fear, but through understanding and respect for the body.